Today we are in Bali and I would like to introduce you to my new friend, Liron. She's from Israel. We were having very interesting conversations and that's why we decided to share it with you. So it's amazing to count with your opinion, with your experience.
I've been in the field for many years, for over 12 years. I have a degree in behavioral science, social worker with social worker in a daycare for children at risk. I worked with mothers for many years, and then I did a degree in child therapy.
So, after all these years experience, seeing different mothers and children, I would like to know, in your experience, in the families you have treated, which were the 3 most common mistakes that you have seen that they can cause problems on the child, or what would be the 3 advices that you want to give to the parents of the world?
So the first one, I think, is put too much emphasis on the child. The way I see it, what I experienced and saw, is that in the modern society there's too much emphasis on the child. A lot of the time it's because it comes from guilt. People work long hours, they come home, they don't see the child a lot, etc. And then they give the child, of course the child is the most important thing, but it's like too much. It's like people sometimes lose themselves a little bit in their parenting, you know.
Put all their attention.
Yeah, all their attention on the child. Everything he wants, they give him. And then what it creates a sense of too big of a self, over getting into his play, you know, over involvement in him. It's kind of like trying to fix everything for him, instead of allowing him to grow, allowing him to play, allowing him to make mistakes and learn from that. And it's come from a good place, of course, that mothers wants to protect, but it's kind of like overprotection. And then the message is that you can't do it by yourself. It's a subconscious message, or that the world is scary. And then there are emotional problems for the children, and when the child is fine, they'll come to me.
Yes. Okay.
The second one, I think, is anxiety. A lot of the mothers are scared, and you know, sometimes it's from their own anxiety, from their own fears, but it's kind of being projected on the child without, not in a bad way, without noticing, and it's like not trusting the child that he can grow, that he can play, that he can solve his problem with his friends. But it's about understanding that it's not about the child.
Of course,
it's about us.
It's
first
always about
and
us.
foremost.
Yeah.
We think that if we give everything to the child, you know, then we actually giving him what he wants. But actually, what the child needs is that we will be balanced, that we will work on ourselves. And a part of it is also to understand, why is it hard for me to say no to him right now? Why do I feel so guilty? Why do I feel so anxious? Okay, and then when we work on this and when we're balanced, then he can be balanced as well, you know. The minute that the parents work on themselves, because it's all reflections, then the parenting becomes much easier, and so to understand, wait a minute, where is this coming from?
Yeah, and I'm so agree with that, because this is what I have noticed the most. That you know, so we go into the situation before nothing happens. It's like, I know he's going to fall, I know he's going to break, I know before he breaks it, before he falls. So we don't allow them even to try.
A very hard place to catch, that 1 second before you go and jump on the child, to see, wait a minute, what's happening to me here? Why am I jumping? And when we go to therapy, for instance, or parental guidance, mothers can understand what's going to them, what's happening with them, and then react differently, because it's all about the reaction.
You can read something in a book, but your reaction comes from your really instinct or your subconscious. So analyze if it's really emergency, if it's really dangerous, so we are exaggerating.
Exactly, but it's go back to your body. Okay, it's go back to the moment, because it's really hard, because we're always on autopilot. A lot of the time, if something happens, as you say, how do we catch it? Go to the breath. It stops. stops it. It takes a moment and just,
Yeah.
and then it's easier for you to understand, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's really
Conscious.
deep.
Yeah.
You really have to do a work
Yeah, and it's
there.
about everything in life. It's not only, but with parenting, you see it. That's why it's so
Very clear.
amazing and so
Yeah.
hard as well, because it touches your pattern really, really strong.
Yeah.
It's like the most incredible mirror to yourself. So that's also where you can do incredible work, but you need to be conscious of it. You know, the path of, especially with the first child, of discovering yourself, and this is why it's so interesting, and that's why it's so frightening, and that's why it's so amazing and so hard. All of it together.
You
Very
have to
important
take care of
message.
yourself. They
Yeah.
will also take care of themselves, probably.
Of course, because what they need you balanced. They need you with energy.
Yeah.
It's like to create this. I call it. It's also emotional anchors for yourself, and then it kind of stops the first part that I talked about of putting all the energy and all the attention on the child, because you're taking some time to yourself. Try to accept yourself and not to be so hard on yourself. You know, also to accept mistake, that it's a part of the way, and to be kind to yourself as a person, as a woman, as a mother.
Because you, as you said, no, we feel guilty or we take all the responsibility. No, I think it's really common when we say, oh, his or her happiness depends on me, and oh, he's having this problem, so it's my mistake.
Yeah.
And actually, we just do our best, but we cannot control the way they take what we do. So it doesn't matter which path you're taking, that maybe the way they take it, you know, can be like a trauma, and then they feel so guilty, you know.
You do your best and you learn along the way. That's all we can do. We can't really
I like
control
what you
anything,
said.
huh?
I like what you said, that we have to trust ourselves, we have to trust our wisdom, and also the wisdom of the child.
Exactly.
And to stay calm and trust.
Yeah, because in society that's very, you know, judging, comparing, etc. But you know, the most important thing is how you
live with
exactly.
it. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the most important thing for the child as
And
well.
that you stay calm and happy.
And there's a theoretician called Winnicott. We learn about it when he studies psychology, and he says, "Good enough mother." You know, every mother knows we have that knowledge in ourselves, but it gets lost on the way because of socialization, because, you know, we used to live like a community and now we live separately, so sometimes people forget, but every mother knows how to raise her child and know the right way.
I don't consider myself an expert, but I do consider you an expert. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope it's useful for you.